Ooh, Morphling.
I mean, if Pyrian and I can call like basically every hero in the first phase of the draft, is that good or bad news for these teams? I mean, we've seen the first pick, like the actual first pick Morphling not work out. But it didn't include the AM in the first phase, which Talon opted to take. But then their draft ends up looking extremely greedy. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I really like Talon's response in the first phase with the AM Undying, but I think they might have gone a little bit off the rails in the second phase. I feel like the techies should have maybe been the Spirit Breaker, and the panel was talking about it as a good solution to the Broodmother, obviously, but also you end up running Naga carry, which I was expecting them to do because it's one of the best heroes against Brood, and it's one of 23's best, so it makes a lot of sense to run these heroes, but I'm just worried about playmaking, I'll be honest. Like, you look at these heroes, who's going to make things happen in the game in general? Is Lina going to itemize in some way that she can find kills? Because the supports... Undying is kind of a follow-up, and so is Techies a lot of the time. Maybe Naga AM sidelines? I don't know, man. I think if the early game doesn't go well for them, they're going to be in some rough times for the side of Talon.
Yeah, I think with the... You were talking... I think the panel was too. Like Chen in the first phase potentially, or Brood. I mean, the same concept where you're just pushing constantly. And if you have an AM, even if it was a position 1 AM, you can still get overrun pretty fast. And we've seen some fast strats from Gaimin. They don't opt to go for like a Beastmaster type though this time around.
I mean, I think
they still have a fast lineup.
I think Brood was the best pick, so I really don't mind it. I honestly like everything Gaimin did in this draft. I like every single hero they picked. I like the time that they did it. My biggest question mark overall is whether Morph is a true overall first pick when teams start getting better at solving it. Which, once again, I think Talon's first phase did, but the rest I'm not so convinced by. But let's see how their lanes go. Because if things go well and they manage to slow the game down, I have really high hopes for Talon in the later portion of the game. Because I think Lina and Naga have are a pretty interesting pairing, where Naga has a decently long lockdown when you get to those fights with Ensnare and Song and just catching people off, and then Lina can use it. But the reason I don't consider it a catch, despite Ensnare being a long route, is that Naga doesn't play that way until late game. She's going to be farming the map, so she won't be connecting with Lina very much until that point. When you get there, you get these items. Naga will counter Brood nicely. Lina is, in my opinion, one of the single best mid-heroes against Morph in general. She has so much single target burst with the casting build, rather than the right-click one. You're just going to go with the Flame Cloak. Flame Cloak Laguna can kill Morph sometimes. So, something to look out for.
Yeah, and I think from Doracio's perspective, I think this is maybe good news for him. The last 2 games we've cast of him playing Morphling, he's gotten first blooded.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is a lineup, especially in that lane, that can actually first blood. Although, one of those games actually was just to techies, now I think about it.
Oh, yeah, true.
So, but that's more user error, I feel like.
Yeah.
We'll see if he's getting off to a better start this game. Yeah, one of those games he came back and was top net worth by 3K, like a 3K discrepancy. It was not even remotely close. And then I think the game yesterday is when he got destroyed eventually. So, of course, I think that first Morphling death is a big deal, but if you die a couple more times within the first 15 minutes, your game is kind of over without some crazy comeback. But we'll see what happens this game.
And we'll also see how the AM matchup fares in the lane, because we've seen AM as a carry against Morph, but we haven't seen the offlane matchup very much. And so far, Jabs is doing great here. This is a downside to Gaimin's lane setup. I think Spirit Breaker Morph doesn't really... Spirit Break actually works pretty well with a lot of ranged carries, but Morphling not necessarily the best one because of his short range. Spirit Breaker likes playing with a ranged hero that can keep attacking when you're frontlining for him. So you go in and you try to bash people, maybe you get a charge at some point, and the ranged carry is just hitting people nonstop. Morph doesn't have that luxury, so effectively Celery is kind of being played as a wall here to just prevent Morph from taking damage from the carry or from the offlaner. And as a result, the AM will be completely free to farm and deny. And he's doing great so far on Jabs, 19-4.
Indeed. And are we going to see... What is the offlane build? I'm trying to think. Other than Vanguard, obviously. I think we still see Manta, right?
I think
sometimes.
I think Vanguard Diffusal is really good this game.
Okay.
Vanguard Diffusal Manta. It's pretty standard offlane AM stuff, and I think the standard build gets the job done here. Ace trading back into 23.
Yep, Insatiable Hunger, pretty good at allowing him to do just that, but that is a lot of illusions with the Riptide. And 23. Okay, talk to me more about Naga in this specific game. Like, when is he going to want to fight on this hero? Because this feels like one of those heroes you just passively farm for like 35 minutes plus, and then finally you're kind of okay to fight. But you need to be at, it's one of those heroes that has to be ahead, I feel like, a lot of the time.
I think 35 minutes is a bit exaggerated. All right, blast off. They're going to go
Celery.
for this with a blood grenade. Celery's screwed here.
Looks like he's done for. Can he deny himself to the creeps? He's drained of all his mana. First blood to Jabs, who having an excellent game on this off-lane anti-mage. That was a literal first pick for Talon.
I think the Naga in this game will want Manta plus... I think you go Manta Orchid, probably. And then you look for something, because with your Orchid timing, you will be a threat to both the Queen of Pain and the Morphling, and you can play with Lina. So that's probably, I don't know, 20 minutes you're looking at roughly if he's having a good time farming. The alternative option is the one you say, where you're like, okay, we're not actually even aiming to be remotely active with our Naga in the mid game, and we just keep farming, and then you'll probably just go Manta, Butterfly, Scotty, and just keep ramping up, at which point maybe you hit the 30-minute mark and you're really strong and beefy and you fight them. Both approaches can work. It depends on how the rest of the game is going.
Okay, well, there's an ensnare, which caused the game to lag. We'll just say that that's the truth. Okay, here's another question. So, Talon, we talked about Jabs offlane. If you're off to this good of a start, is there any way that you want to just build like a carry almost? Like you can get away with the extra greed?
Are you even trying?
I don't think there's any point.
You don't think there's enough space? I guess if you're going to have 3 heroes farming that much.
Lina and Naga already take up a lot of map, and I think even if you can pull it off, I don't know if it's going to be better, because let's say you have a great start and you go the greedy route, you might actually just be letting Gaming Gladiators into the game.
He's getting gone on here. His tombstone was completely destroyed by the little shredder, and Ace is going to clean him up very easily. Q actually comes in to assist as a charge coming in from Celery onto Creeps. Looks like this will break things up overall. And I'm glad that we're seeing some sort of an answer, even though I love grab ally, to the tombstone later in the draft with the Snapfire. I feel like teams have kind of let that go to some degree, where they just have an entire draft where they cannot kill the tombstone at all.
Celery too slow on the charge. Yeah, I agree though. I think tombstone has become...
There is Brood, though, either way.
Yeah, they already have Brood, but I don't mind the Snapfire pick regardless, because I also think she serves a secondary purpose in this game, which is her ulti is pretty damn good with Spirit Breaker. He isolates targets for like 5 seconds with his chain stun, and you can just throw out globs in the meantime. You have good friends for the Cookie and Brood and Spirit Breaker, and even Morph can actually use it pretty well, so I do like that choice a lot.
Yep, Tofu. Oh, nice charge. Oh, actually blocks off the blast off from Q. Blood grenade.
Maybe.
Celery getting chased. Another blood grenade comes through, but a big sonic wave from Quinn. They're going to delete one hero off the bat. And Ollie continuing to get chased by Celery. Another blood grenade. How many freaking blood? How much blood do you have in the system today, Mr. Celery?
Well, he did have 3, so I think he's out.
Yeah. Makoto able to TP out, but
right,
ends up being a 2-for-1 in favor of Gaiman.
He does have 1 more to go. Yeah, I didn't expect Tofu to be the casualty there. I thought it was going to be Celery, but Makoto got in range for that Laguna, so we'll get that one. A bit of trade of ults, the Sonic Wave obviously being the bigger cooldown, so not the worst trade in the world for Talon. And gotta keep in mind, we talked about their strategy, right? The most important thing is not falling behind, and so far so good. Their lineup will definitely be one of the slower ones in the mid game that we've seen. If they can keep this up, okay.
Yeah, let's stay into the blast off, but Quinn able to blink out, and you can see the charge coming from base, but without Sonic Wave, I don't think they're going to be able to actually get that kill. Jabs continuing to bully Dyrachyo. Look at the mana capacity on him right now, and has a level advantage onto Jabs as well. So honestly, could not ask for a better start on an offlane anti-mage, which I feel like is a hero you could punish.
Dyrachyo like needs to be careful here. He's actually dead.
Yeah, sticky bomb's coming. Mana Void is there. Another blood grenade. And that's the death of Dyrachyo. Q's the one that gets the last hit, though.
Techies is always good to get gold on. How many games have we seen in this tournament where Techies is like the 2nd highest damage in his team, right? Like this hero just does incredible amounts of damage per gold, so it's very, very valuable. It's kind of reminiscent of, we had a phase in Dota where people were playing 4 Zeus, and it's kind of reminding me of that. 4 Zeus off to a good start in game.
Scatter Blast, Full Shredder to follow.
Yeah, should
23
be
Savage getting charged on.
The charge.
Does not have Song, so he will die.
Good response from Gaimin after losing their Morph top. They get a bit of a trade-off there.
What were we saying before that?
So I'm just saying the 4 techies kind of reminds me of the heyday of 4 Zeus, where when 4 Zeus got off to a good early start and got some kills in the lane, he could just become almost a carry as a support. And there's very few 4s that are truly able to perform that function in the patch right now, but techies is probably the #1.
Well, the more shocking thing is that it made it to the second phase this game. It's been first phase for so much of the tournament, and yet I can't remember how many times it's actually even been denied or banned out entirely.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of really top-tier heroes available in the first phase here. I don't really mind any of the picks. I think the odd one out was the Anti-Mage, right? Undying, Brood, and Morph being first phased is a very commonplace in this tournament, but Talon wanted this counter matchup approach, and so far so good.
And I think the panel talked about it as well, though, Sinner, and we talked about it backstage. The Terrorblade ban by Game of Gladiators was also very odd.
Yeah, I don't know what it is Gaimin see. That's like in all of their drafting in Dota right now. This is the thing I understand the least is what do they see in Terrorblade against Morph, because they banned it when they had Morphling, and the other day they picked it against Morph and lost.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's small sample size. It's like, yeah, you can have a bad game or whatever. I just don't conceptually get what
they're trying to bait Quinn in, but Blast Off will not hit. They will be able to secure the shield rune though for Makoto. Yeah, it feels like I mean, the first 2 picks of the game for Gaimin were Brood and Morphling. I feel like Terrorblade just gets dumpstered by both those heroes, but what do we know?
And I would say Naga is better against both as well, and they didn't ban that. And 23, this is like his favorite hero, at least one of them.
Well, maybe they're just sick of playing against Terrorblade, which I can appreciate. Makoto is getting charged on. Quinn with the Shadow Strike is there, but you can see Talon still with 2 members shadowing Makoto as the LSA into the Laguna is enough to spell Celery's doom.
Oh my God, those
Big
gloves.
Mortimer's Kiss is coming from below though as Q will take a tumble, so 1 for 1, but the Scatter Blast is there to completely kill off the supports now for Talon.
That was insane damage from the snap. Just
and
perfect
Ace,
ult.
ooh, that's a lot of spiders you got there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to expend the glyph immediately, and we'll see how they respond here. I think you TP in the techies and you just blast off into this with Lina protecting you maybe, or maybe Sticky Bomb would be enough. But yeah, this is a really nice spell combination from Game Gladiators. So they get this nice Sonic Wave onto 3 and these globs. Q will die from full to 0, and they were able to follow through and get Ollie as well.
Speaking of Q, he's gonna die from full to 0 again as the Tombstone is placed and immediately killed. Another strike back from Ollie onto the rest of Gaimin Gladiators as Ace now with a double kill, and this is starting to get out of control as Quinn very happy as they get the tier 1 tower now.
So it begins. They were doing well for the first 10 minutes, and now comes the real challenge. Brood is online, connecting with the supports, putting pressure, and what do you do as Talon now? You're pretty much, your lineup is more or less forced to play counteractive, which is very difficult against this type of heroes such as Brood and Morph, because they're survivable, Spirit Breaker is survivable, Quap is survivable. It's going to be tricky now. You need to find a way of bridging the gap. I guess maybe with AM getting a defusal. Well, it looks like he's just going straight Manta though.
Yeah.
So. It's going to be very awkward now. This was my biggest concern with their lineup, and I was actually a little bit inspired by how the first 5 minutes went for Talon, but I just don't know if it's going to cut it here now. Curious to see how they're going to solve this problem, because this is absolutely going to be a problem. They do not have a solution for Brood right now. 23?
He's shown, does have his song available, will have to use it. But this will open up the tier 2 tower now for Gaimin because they're grouped up. They got the Spiderlings ready to go. And like you said, I don't see anything really stopping them. Ace will continue to pound. There is a smoke coming out from Talon. They're actually coming down here. But without the song, we'll see if they're able to fight. 23 Savage does show up as Laguna Blade initiation. Ace, he's going to get killed. So nice pick off from Talon, able to catch Gaimin Gladiators off guard.
Yeah, perfect opportunity. It's not easy, because if Gaimin's heroes are ready, that play isn't going to work like that. But they found Ace isolated in a moment where he was off to the left. This entire play can be countered very, very hard by Spirit Breaker plus Snap, but we're not in position, so well done. And they buy themselves some breathing room, is how I'm going to look at this. Every time they kill this brute, they just buy time. It's also the top net worth hero in the game, so obviously a nice little pot of gold for that.
Yep. The fact that Jabs is top net worth on his team and second in the game is actually kind of insane. Not even a farming build at all.
Yep. He's just having a free lane, so does amount to a decent amount of gold.
Now the charge onto Q. And even kills like this feels like this is buying time for Talon as well, potentially, especially if they're going to try to group up to take him out. As long as the cores can continue to farm, I think Talon will be relatively happy with the status quo.
Yeah, and I don't know how good it is for Gaming Gladiators to rotate the Brood up here. I don't know if that's what they should be trying to do. It seems like a very deliberate choice that they're charging the techies to flush him out and then give Brood access to the enemy triangle. This might be more efficient than playing bottom, but usually we see Brood constantly play that side of the map to force the enemy back down. But maybe against Naga in particular, it's just not worth it to play down there because she can keep pushing the waves with illusions, she can keep defending. Jabs. Yeah,
we have Mortimer's from afar as Jabs was going on top of Celery. The fight kind of separated a bit, but Tofu finds himself all alone. Laguna is more than enough with the right clicks to follow as Talon get themselves another kill, which means delaying even more.
Yep. I really like how they're playing it right now. They had this little slip up minute 11, but they've managed to stifle Gaming Gladiators' progression now with a couple of good kills and not lose their towers.
Watching AM try to kill a stack of Ancients with no battlefield, pretty hilarious.
I'll manage in time. In due time.
Good job, Jabs. You did it.
Let's go.
You've done it. Now go back to farming top. 23 Savage. He runs into Quinn. Does have Song if they're going to try to connect here, and he'll use it. In fact, is he going to TP or are they going to try to fight this? Oh, ensnare onto Quinn. They're going to try to group up. Jabs is there, but can't hold him down for long.
Yeah, it's a pretty short duration ensnare right there. Not quite enough. A couple of more levels and that would have been a Quinn kill, but he's obviously accounting for Naga's shortcomings as a hero right now. Every Naga carry will skill build like this. You need to max out both your first and third spell to be efficient in farming. And therefore, being level 11, you only have that 1 point to put into ensnare, and it's not that long.
How much do you think Lina would be played if Aether Lens had an upgrade still? Do you think that's a really big buff to her, or am I overstating it? It feels like they always have this Aether Lens as Ollie. He's going to get destroyed.
I definitely think it would make the hero a lot more appealing if you could go the old Aether Lens into Octarine. That's for sure.
But if it's phylactery, what everybody wants, it's not really going to add too much.
Who is everybody in this?
Reddit, of course.
Okay.
That's the majority.
I've read a lot of...
Oh, Quinn! They don't really layer properly, but it matters not. The damage is overwhelming. Quinn dead for 30.
I've read a lot of item upgrade suggestions on Reddit. I think the overall, like, agreement rate I have is very low.
Okay.
I want to say maybe 1 in 10 upgrade suggestions sound even remotely balanced.
I mean, I'll tell you this from experience. Like, I'm sure even in the beta testing team for Dota, it's probably the rate of success is 1 out of 10. You just got to get a bunch of crappy ideas out there, and then you're like, oh, this one is actually good.
Yeah, and I mean, you can have good ideas by concept, and then the numbers are off.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite ideas, because I think something that's very difficult to balance in Dota is numbers, but I think what is... what's easier to do is coming up with some sort of idea and recognizing that that's fun, and then finding a way of implementing it.
Yeah.
So there's this endless creativity you can have with spells. Blast off, not connected. Quinn quick enough on the blink. He's got an arcane rune as well. Okay, Celery.
Sure does. Celery taking a lot of damage with those mines. He's going to get off the bulldoze, but then will die to Jax. Quinn, he wants to fight. Sonic Wave is there. Only clips Q, though. Attempting to TP out. Oh, the disarm!
Clutch!
Wow. Very nicely done from Q. That wastes the Sonic Wave, but like you said, it was the Arcane Runes, not the biggest waste for Quinn and company. It feels like this has just slowed down to a crawl, though, for Gaming Gladiators. The LSA onto Ace. They find him again. They bought themselves more minutes.
They're getting a lot of value out of this mid Lina's burst. This is really good stuff from Talon. genuinely think these last 5 minutes were meant to be the hardest 5 minutes of the game for them in many ways, and they have won them. So that is a very good look. Now Anti-Mage and Naga both basically top net worths with that additional kill on the Brood. This I mean, this could not be any more perfect. My God. Wow.
What a professional.
Yeah. Spell definitely has its uses. A lot of the time it seems a bit underwhelming, but when you do it well, it's wonderful. Mikoto closing in on Aghanims, which is obviously going to be huge for their potential to kill any core, really. Mikoto should be able to take more than half the health of either Morph, Brood, or Queen by himself in a burst, probably 3/4 actually. So just with a little bit of help from a Blast Off, or an Anti-Mage blink in with Manta, or an Ensnare, there are kills to be found here with that Flame Cloak.
I mean, I still can't believe how well Jabs is farming. I mean, it's not, obviously, like you said, he's been left alone, but the fact that he's been left alone is crazy.
That Orchid.
23 Savage will find the kill onto Celery. His next item on Jabs will be Scotty, and that's when he becomes a true threat, not just one guy that jumps in and gets a quick pick off and then goes away. He becomes legitimately a carry. Oh, looks like he's going Lincolns now instead.
Speaking of all of that, when is the last time we've seen Duracho on camera? Like, the Morph is literally just farming jungle, right? It's not participating in any sort of aggressive movements, and I think it's the right thing for him to do. He has to just stand and farm on his Morph, but definitely this offlane Anti-Mage has so far paid off quite well for Talon, and it's got the kill on the Morphling in lane, got himself a game, and I mean, if it comes down to it, obviously with the AM Manta, this can become quite the split push game. With Talon's lineup, it's going to be super obnoxious to deal with for Gaming Gladiators. You kind of have this vibe that they really want to force something here, but they feel like they can't.
Well, this is a start. Is the old Roche. But the Roche off might be here as Talon are in the area as well. They're going to scan it out, so they know this is happening. This Roche will go down relatively fast if they don't get here. Talon, though, 23 Savage, he's got his song. They just need to scout it out with some illusions. They'll spot that Roche is at half HP, so not low enough to really go for it. As Gaimin, they're going to smoke and try to do the old wraparound. And while this is happening, Jabs is just pushing out top. Of course, this Radiant advantage with that outpost, he can TP here anytime. As the charge is coming for all, he's going to pop his ult. Get some little extra HP. Sonic Wave is there. Again, only clipping one as Ollie taking all the damage from the Mortimus because his Q comes in with the blast up, but it's deleted shortly after. Celery finally finds a kill as Jabs makes his way over. Tombstone still alive as the song comes out from 23 Savage. And the rest of Talon will have to back away. It's a 2-for-1. Buyback still intact, though, for Talon. As Gaimin will likely try to finish off Roche, and it might be an uncontested one at that.
Yeah, this is going to be difficult to access now. You don't have Tombstone. You don't have Song, which is your primary tool for handling this, but 23 had to use it to escape, so... Yeah, Gaimin taking advantage of the angles that they have here with their Brood and with the Spirit Breaker charge. Grab themselves the Aegis here now for Quinn, actually. I thought it was maybe going to go on Duracho, but speaking of him, he's got Ags, so this is when the fun really begins for Morph. He can turn into Anti-Mage, steal his attack speed, and get the blink, or he can turn into the Naga and get mirror images, so...
Either way,
really, really strong item here.
But talked about AM going for the Lincolns, so 23 Savage will probably be the easier one if he can find him. And Jabs and company. Do they actually want to contest this? Jabs is actually spotted out, but Quinn going in really deep. The LSA connects along with the Laguna. He's going to be able to walk away just barely. Actually jumps right back in as another strike holds down Makoto, and they bring him down. Ollie's going to die right after placing that Tombstone, which will likely be taken out post-haste as Quinn will somehow survive. A little bit surprised that Talon actually wanted to fight there. As now Duracho into the base. He's going to get disarmed, turns into AM. But we'll blink back. I was going to say, like, with the Roshan, the way that went, they lost 2 supports on Talon, they get 1 in Gaimin, they give up the Aegis. I feel like that's still okay for Talon. That's not the worst thing in the world. We've seen even entire lanes of racks being taken up just to get these cores back online. But they're already doing quite well, so I'm a little surprised that they want to fight into the Aegis there. The tier 2 finally taken. I mean, this was a tower that should have been taken out in theory like 6-7 minutes ago, based on how this game was progressing.
Still don't think Gaming are too worried with what they have just managed to accomplish. Now it's a matter of not getting caught off guard around the map by these two. Naga as well as Lina can kill anyone with the Orchid and Burst combination from Lina, so gotta keep your posture, good formation around the map. I guess the safest hero they have against all of this is probably the Morphling, so maybe he can play the most aggressively on waves. And I suppose with Quinn not losing the Aegis there either, he does have the lifeline. So wonder if they're gonna...
Tormentor time?
Tormentor's an option. They could also just smoke and try to find either Anti-Mage or the Naga in a side lane, because it's relatively telegraphed how Talon are playing the map. Like, there's not that many options when you have a lineup like this. Naga will be playing one side, and you'll probably have AM on the other, so your two elusive cores with escape abilities are splitting the map up. There's the heart now for 23. I think Talon had like a stupidly long game against PSG LGD, right? With Naga, I think.
Sounds about right.
Had a couple. Talon like to play their long games with this hero. This could be the makings of one, but Gaimin gonna try their best to prevent it. They're gonna go straight in here.
Yep, Q, will get charged on. Glimmer will not last forever. Blast off, he's gonna get Nether Striked in midair as the fortification is popped, but with all these spiders, Ace and company should be able to get this tower now. Little Shredder helping out as well.
I believe this is what we in American sports call an interception.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. Or just a steal in basketball, you know.
It always looks...
You want me to call an interception from now?
I mean, it always looks cool when you stop spells midair.
Yeah, it does.
And Nether Strike is one of the best at it because it also knocks them back. So Techies couldn't handle it, got knocked out of his ballistic curve there. That's a 5k lead all of a sudden now for Gaimin. They will get themselves a Tormentor soloed by Dyrachyo. Will go to Tofu, who now is in a bit of trouble, but with the Force Staff will reset position. And Dyrachyo comes in and is pretending to be Naga.
Okay.
Naga is also pretending to be Naga.
Yeah, 23 Savage.
And will be successful.
Without the ult. Ace coming in from the low ground. They're going to spot the spiders.
Just giving vision here. This is really
the
good.
Charge. Going to connect onto Q. Already at half HP just like that as the Ensnare's going to hold Quinn in place. Nether Strike onto Q though, but Celery is taking the brunt of the damage. Another Sonic Wave only hitting one hero. The Techies will fall. As Ollie looks to be next on the list by Ace. He can pursue easily with that BKB. So again, support's dying, but not too many cores, especially on Talon's side. Feels like their cores have had pretty free game overall. Alice Fate connects on Dyrachyo into the Mana Void, not paying attention. Goodness gracious. Talon get a freebie. And now the Ensnare holding Ace in place. And the Mortimer's gonna delete all of the illusions and provide Ace an escape.
Huge Morphling kill. This was starting to look very Gaimin favored with every move, but they finally get a good response there. And this is what I was talking about. If Lina gets that pick, Morph can just disappear in the blink of an eye with this insane spell burst that the Lina is offering. All it took was to find that little moment of opportunity. I understand why Dyrachyo felt safe there too, because he had a high ground ward in the area and he was just farming that camp, but they came in from the left where exactly where he didn't have vision. Sniped him there. Man, this is so... It's like pitiful watching AM take camps right now.
Now, they will get a shard. It's going to be Techies or Undying. And they get the good one. Grab ally activated.
I wonder who is going to use it on primarily. It might almost be himself, because it feels like Talon are generally getting their supports caught.
Yeah, the Techies, okay.
So radio. Oh my god.
All right.
Okay, welcome to the lane.
And Jabs. We'll be going for the Abyssal Blade next, so we'll be upgrading the Vanguard. And they really haven't had much of an answer to him. He has yet to die, 5-0 and 3. So So killing spree still active. And this lead has been kind of decimated. Down to 2K now. And we won't know about next Roche for another minute and a half. Yeah, pretty even odds overall. But it does feel like this is playing into Talon's pace. Like this whole game has felt that way.
I would agree with that. Because like Morphling is kind of, for this game, for the perspective of this game, he's kind of peaking now. I think even when he gets bigger, AM is going to match him more and more, and so is Naga. Like you're going to be able to, you're generally going to be able to morph the Naga, I think, but she can still fight back, and she can obviously, as one of the only carriers, just reset. If she gets morphed, then it's a problem. She can sing and just get the hell out of there, wait for morph to expire, and then go. Antimage is working now on a basher into Abyssal, which is a huge problem for the Morphling to deal with, because again, it just gives them another option for opening up for their Lina to kill the Morphling in the blink of an eye. So yeah, I would agree. I think Talon are pretty satisfied with how this is going after the last couple of engages that they got. Exchanges.
And they got the grab ally, of course. Yeah, we didn't talk about grab ally until it was picked up. That's maybe the first time.
Yeah. Something weird about today.
Yeah, apologies to all the grab ally enthusiasts out there. I will make sure to do that before the game starts from now on.
If a dying isn't in the game.
Right, we'll still talk about it.
We'll talk about.
So how are the shards in this game compared to grab ally, which is not in the game?
You kind of have to. It's contractual at this point.
Wow, Techie's
to meet the quota every game.
Techie's even building a Lincolns as well. So lots of Lincolns, and by that I mean 2.
I guess his is to be put on someone else. He's not gonna be caring too much about getting charged, or about especially getting morphed. If he gets morphed, that's great news. But he'll probably just put his on the Naga or the Antimage so they can have an extra layer of protection.
Makoto's also going for it. So they will have 3 Lincolns eventually.
Wouldn't be surprised to see. Would 23 buy one? I don't know. Maybe. So far, no. He's working on a Nullifier or Bloodthorn.
Well, 23, speaking of which, we'll have to song. Mortimerskis is going to get canceled now. As you can see, Dyrachyo looking for the adaptive, but would have had to have BKB to be able to stop that one.
He must have been pretty close to being in range, wouldn't he? You can adaptive mid-wave form, and he's invulnerable to the song. So.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I think maybe if he does it perfect, I don't actually know if this is possible because the cast range on that spell is pretty good, but song is obviously very far. It's probably a close call actually to getting that strength adaptive there, which would have been huge because I don't think 23 would have had any way out of that. Okay.
Oh, another strike onto Ollie. Gets off his Flesh Golem though. Tombstone as well. He's going to grab himself, but the Tombstone dies, and so will he. But it's a 1-for-1 to start. As the rest of Talon looking to back away. And this entire game has felt, for the most part, support for support. Like these just constant trades, and then we go to a little break. Occasionally we'll see a core die, but mostly Ace, I feel like, has been the major recipient from the Talon side at least. Be able to take him out.
They found Quinn. How many times? They only found him once, actually. Yeah, you're right. 2 kills on Ace, 8 kills on the Spirit Breaker of Celery.
I will say Quinn's impact on this game has not been particularly huge. A lot of the Sonic Waves have hit a solo hero. They just haven't, and I don't even know if it's his fault at all because these fights are just so scattered.
Yeah, I think it's the nature of what you're playing against. This isn't the easiest Queen of Pain game from my perspective. I think the Antimage matchup is kind of rough, like you said. It's hard to find multi-hero Sonics because Naga's playing angles, Antimage is coming from another side, Techies is playing outside the fight entirely. So a lot of the times it's only really going to be the Undying you even have access to, because Lina as well has like huge range. It's part of the counterpick to the Queen of Pain is the reach. So definitely not the easiest.
Well, we're going to have another attempt at Roche. This is Roche number 2, and you can see Talon on the minimap making their way over. And this is almost exactly the same scenario because Roche is at half HP as Gaming Gladiators now exit the pit.
It's literally deja vu. It's like sex.
So the song, once the song is used, that's when the fight, that's when the Roche steal could happen. But from Game Inside, they want to force the song first, and then there's going to be little way for Talon to actually enter the fight without brute force.
Seeing here, every ulti is available except Flesh Golem in a moment. Morph is now ready again. I think Talon would love to wait until they get their Abyssal. They're so close, but I think Jabs can't really leave the area to finish it off. He needs 100 gold.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, Quinn reflected in Snare. No one's gonna jump on this though.
Morph has morphed the Naga, so there's going to be Naga illusions to deal with for the side of Talon.
Okay, very good. Not going to be confusing at all. 23 Savage pretending to be an illusion in the pit. As he's starting to hit Roche a bit now. And the charge comes in onto the Undying, but Celery's going to back up, but he gets ensnared mid-run. 23 Savage is going to take the solo Sonic Wave again. As the illusion's starting to get cleared up. 23 Savage in the midst of all these spiders. Roche is getting really low now. Aegis and Cheese available. There's the song, and that's going to allow Talon to get everything. Now, can they get out? They weren't able to TP amidst the song. They're trying to fight on this high ground as Quinn just caught out. He's going to get blown up. Blinks away, but finally the right clicks from Jabs comes. Jabs able to get that Mana Void off as well as Ace. Pops the BKB, going to the low ground. Looks like Gaiman, they're going to want to back up now that their Queen of Pain is dead. Dyrachyo, LSA is going to connect. He's Orchided as well. 23 Savage continue to pursue. And the blast off coming in, but not able to find anybody. And this looks like a successful disengage from Gaiman, but they did lose Roche.
I think Topo might still be in trouble here. They're going to chase him all the way if they can.
Oh, LSA connects on the even bigger kill. Abyssal to follow. And Dyrachyo falls 74 seconds.
That is huge.
And Talon getting so much out of that fight.
They're getting a lot of value out of Light Strike Array. Like just this insane reach that Delina has with the lens and the Flame Cloak and just going around, flying out, finding the stuns. And yeah, it's just easy. I gotta say, that Roche kill for Talon, I love the way 23 played that fight by sending his real hero into the pit and causing all this confusion and then ultimately just singing and stealing it. That was clean. And now that Morph is dead, they're gonna go for this. Just straight up high ground.
Yeah, why not? Tofu gonna Lotus off the Orchid as Jabs comes into Abyssal Quinn. And only a bit of chip damage, but the tower is taking more than chip damage here. Celery trying to delay a bit as the Tombstone placed to get ready to use Grab Ally if needed. And now the buildings will start to melt. Like you said, 20 seconds on Dyrachyo. They're gonna pop their last fortification. But Talon should be able to get the melee racks at the very least. And the question is, will they stick around or will they fully retrieve? Because they have so much time on this Aegis, they can fully reset, buy their items, and reconnect.
Like they're going to maybe even get the range racks here. They have 2 siege creeps still attacking. Quinn needs to go to work with this very hit to stop
Siege creeps! Siege creeps!
Oh, one more shot! Okay. They keep it for now.
Okay.
But literally any hit here from a core will take this down.
One illusion could come in and take that out in a few hits.
Naga now with the Hex.
Oh, wow. 2.8k gold. Holy crap. Oh, that's for both heroes, I guess, right?
Naga illusions always give quite a lot of gold over the course of a game. There was a time when these illusions gave nothing, and that was like the most frustrating thing ever.
Kind of like Nature's Prophet Treants.
Yeah, just that they gave literally 0.
Oh, they gave literally 0. Yeah, I don't remember that.
There was a time when illusions gave no gold at all.
That's true.
All illusions were...
Was that in Dota 2 or Dota 1?
Dota 2.
Oh.
I don't even know how... It's not that many years ago, it feels like. Like maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. Illusions used to give absolutely nothing to kill, so we had like these patches where people were playing like Terrorblade and Naga and PL, and you just constantly had to be Garbage Man and just take out all of these illusions and you got nothing for it. Just full-on volunteering Garbage Man. 1 hour a day in Dota. It was a good time.
Yep.
Everybody loved PL.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, here goes the tower. 9k lead, Talon.
Yeah, and they are in the driver's seat. And the high ground will commence. Aegis for a minute and a half. 23 Savage, extremely tanky. Just bought the Sheep Stick relatively recently. As the Tombstone is placed.
Hexing for Tombstone protection there.
Yep, can grab Ally if you want. There he goes. Okay, the Tombstone gets killed immediately. But Quinn also gets deleted immediately. Tombstone for Quinn, not the fairest of trades. But the techies will fall. So Gaiman able to get something at least, but they do have buyback on Quinn. this tower will fall. Oh, now the Abyssal Blade initiation from Jabs. Do they have enough to actually take out Ace? He'll walk away, but they Nether Strike onto 23 Savage, who's just shrugging it off.
He is stupidly tanky on Naga.
They don't have creeps, though. That is a... Actually, will stop the push, and their Aegis is expiring kind of soon. So, Gaimin actually do defend the tier, or the second set of racks.
It's very, very explosive lineup that Talon have managed to get to at this point. You just see Quinn is definitely a little bit out of his element in this game right now, because you don't usually face this kind of opposition 30 minutes in as the Queen of Pain, but she can get 100-0 despite having Kaya-san. She just dies in a stun.
Yeah.
Just Light Strike Array, Flame Cloak, Laguna, Blast Off, and then Mana Void. And that's it. So if you're used to having a little bit of flexibility in the fights, being able to tank a bit, move around, you just don't have that luxury. And the problem for Gaimin is somebody has to take the first hit. Who's it going to be? Don't want it to be Quinn, but you also don't want it to be Duracho. He can die as well. There's the hack.
Speaking of which.
Good Force Staff.
All right, Talon still grouping up despite not having that Aegis. The cheese right now is on Jabs. And we have a counter smoke now from Gaimin. They want to try to get the jump before Talon are on the footsteps of their base.
Which region would you connect most with Naga? Would it be SEA or China?
I mean, I have to say China because of just early Dota, at least.
I feel like this has always been the SEA hero, actually.
There's a DD bottom, by the way. And Quinn's going to spot it, so Duracho's going to get that. This could be a pretty big rune.
They see him, though.
Yep, okay, they're going to blow up Celery to start things out. Duracho jumps in with the BKB, focusing on 23 Savage, who has his song off. Mortimer's Kisses is coming as well. 23 Savage trying to run away. So he is in a bit of trouble now as Duracho catches up, and they're able to bring down the Naga finally. All off the back of that double damage and a nice pincer move from Gaimin.
Yeah, playing with a lot of confidence. Getting 300 damage. That's effectively a free rapier there. That will do it. Another good aspect of Morph. Does well with runes. What can't this hero do? Except lose.
Well, we've seen it lose a couple times. Well, its win rate's not that good.
Oh, it's really weird. But hey, we can say with confidence that his win rate against AM isn't good.
Right.
So if he loses this game, Duracho has a good excuse here.
Yeah. It's like, don't first pick Morphling. I didn't tell you to do that. I mean, according to the interview, he hates it. Jab jumping in. Abyssal into Explosion. Quinn dead again. This time does not have buyback.
Yeah, they just assassinate so quickly. This is a deceptively... I mean, Queen is pretty tanky. It's just not enough. How much magic resist does he have, actually? Let me have a look. So he has 43% magic resist as an int hero, which is why this looks a lot less impressive than it could be when they go for their full spell burst. But even that is not enough with 2500 health. He still dies in that Abyssal Blast-Off Laguna combo.
How do you itemize against that?
Neon Disc?
On a mid? That feels kind of bad.
It does, but it might be necessary this game. He's probably going to buy it after Hex. I think BKB is not necessarily the safest choice. That's another option, obviously. But that's only really good if you're the one taking the initiative, because you don't really get to react to some of these plays sometimes. Yeah. Just getting LS8 out of the trees. So I think Disc might be a requirement almost at some point here, because you're not in control of not getting jumped ever.
Unless Ace, he's found out. He's sheep. LS8 will not hit. The Blast-Off does. Abyssal on top of the BKB now. As Ace trying to turn his sights onto Q, gets the Nullifier off as well as the Mortimer's Kisses are coming, but they're able to take out the Spider eventually.
Nice grab ally.
Song is there. Grab ally. And LSA again will not hit. But Celery will find his way to the grave anyway, despite having the BKB.
Godlike on Jabs. Offlane Anti-Mage. I was going to say might as well have been a carry, but when's the last time you saw carry Anti-Mage not go Battle Fury?
True.
Still, his net worth is pretty solid.
That's the one main difference, really, though.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Lincoln's maybe. I mean, yeah, you would probably go that in certain games on
I think so.
Parry AM. Is the second set of racks is now going to go down in Talon's favor.
I mean, the game might just flat out be over here, right?
Indeed.
They're going to get megas.
There is a fortification. Oh,
they
the
find
sheep onto
Duracio.
Duracio on the back line. LSA hits as well. Abyssal to follow. He's getting drained of all his mana, but he's able to get out with that BKB. But now he just has to back off. He doesn't really get much value out of it other than living, which I guess, depending on your outlook, is probably valuable.
I think Talon are very confident there's no buybacks now as well, because when they get that pressure move on Duracio, a lot of supports will snap buyback there
Yeah,
on the Spirit Breaker. But since he didn't do that, Ollie doesn't have it.
Oh, the sheep onto Quinn. Lotus Orb prematurely
my
applied,
God,
but
the
Duracio
damage.
is the one that gets initiated on, and he will
Holy.
fall. Does have buyback, though. Big charge coming in from Celery. Another strike. Okay, onto Ollie. The Tombstone. I can't even tell if that's actually alive. Does grab ally available, Cinderin.
live?
23 Savage, the song. Everyone trying to get out,
my God, they all
and they
got out.
will. Unbelievable.
He grab allied himself, and the Tombstone got broken instantly. So it looked like he was stuck inside the Tombstone's corpse, but
The Tombstone, when it's destroyed, there's still fragments, so I couldn't tell if that was
it
still
looked
alive.
a little bit weird, like he was stuck.
Now he's going to have
somehow, but
Greaves.
Really clutch song into self-soul rip to save himself and then get out. They timed the TPs pretty well too. Like it looked like Naga might be TPing out a little bit too early, but it lined up just fine. That was beautiful. Just completely clean disengage. They force the morph buyback. They kill him. There's now a 20k lead for Talon, and honestly, all it takes now is one successful smoke move where they find Duracio and the game ends. So there's a very clear path to victory here. You know what you got to do. It's just a matter of that one moment, and they know Roche would be heading towards his home in the darkness.
Yep, Ace with the spiders, able to take out some mines, but there's the Hex onto Duracio, and he is dead. Just like that, Sonic Wave finally hitting more than one hero, but now the initiation from Jabs onto the backline. Tofu taking a ton of damage, and a big mana void coming out. It's not enough to get a kill outright, but you have to think that Talon are going to be able to clean this up eventually. Blast Off does not hit, but Makoto continue with the double kill as the song is already up again.
23 finds Quinn here.
And Quinn ensnared, Orchided, and killed. No buyback on him either. They find Ace as well. LSA is there, and that should do it, surely. The only thing Talon loses is their Undying, which is valuable because of Grab Ally, as we've talked about every game that we've cast ad nauseum. But there should be mega creeps, if not more.
Oh, Celery. Nice charge.
Surprised they're even chasing this when they know that the buyback is not available for Duracio.
Farming some fantasy points.
Yes, everyone loves their fantasy points.
It's just a formality at this point. They do want to... All right, they're getting the megas first.
Yep, GG's called.
Okay.
So game number 1 of this best of 3 in the lower bracket for Dream League Season 20 that goes to Talon. And talked about their draft, very greedy, but when AM can just literally...